Honorable Chairperson, respected co-panelists and my dear friends. Professor Patel has already made a reference to my presentation by mentioning communitization of education in Nagaland. So my presentation will be with reference to Nagaland and Northeast, not Northeast. Northeast is too vast, 8 states to cover, and with such diversity, I will be doing grave injustice to that topic. So I have limited to Nagaland, and that too for 2 interventions, very successful interventions by the government, VDBs or Village Development Boards, and communitization of public services by the government of Nagaland. These 2 things would be my presentation. And here it is outlined: Village Development Boards, communitization, and the role of social capital. That would be the major argument of the presentation. Yeah, we know Nagaland is a place which has been battered because of the past 40, 50, or even 60 years of war conflict situation. What's happening? Yeah. So when this particular Village Development Board program was thought of, it was somewhere in 1970s, mid-1970s. And the situation was really bad. Things were not going on well at all. There wasn't any development taking place. Villages were all in a shambles. And there was this great gentleman by name, Mr. Gokhale, A.N. Gokhale, in one of the districts, southern districts of Nagaland, FEC district. He thought of all these confusion in Nagaland. He thought about the difficulties the people facing, no development, initiatives reaching out to the beneficiaries. But he also realized there is something very special about this group, what Professor Patel talked about, the rich culture and cultural practices that they have. And he saw the village council in the village proper, a very powerful body. And he said, can I do something keeping in mind the village structures? And that's how we came out with this idea of Village Development Board. The slides that follow will talk about how he made use of this already existing cultural structures, social structures, to bring, to initiate development programs of the government. So in FEC proper, he starts with a small little village. Tapochima is the village, small little village. I've been to the place. And then talks to the village council, the chief, and he says, this is what he has. And he starts this. In 1976, he begins this little initiative in this village. Within 2 years of its initiation, he sees huge results, positive results. And fortunately, after those 2 years of his stay in FEC district, he is promoted to the rural department. In other words, he becomes the secretary to the Department of Rural Development. And he carries forward this idea of Village Development Board for the entire state. So in 1980, after convincing the Chief Minister, the Council of Ministers, he introduces this particular model of Village Development Board to the entire state of Nagaland. So there were then about 918 villages, which are about 1,400 now. But all the recognized villages, 918 of them, this particular idea was initiated. Who are the members of the Village Development Board, VDBs? All resident members of the village are members of VDBs. But the VDB has a management committee, and that's a very crucial committee. That makes a big difference. And that committee, the members, depends on how big the village is. It should be minimum of 5 or not more than 25 members. And the village, the members are chosen according to the number of scales. Scales are wards in a village. A village is divided into so many sectors. So many the more sectors, more numbers. The less sectors, less numbers. So therefore, depending on the number of scales in the village proper. And the functioning of the VDB proper. The management council fixes one date every year. Imagine it is the 5th of a month. So that 5th of month, every month, the 12 months meeting is held. And this information goes to the entire village. Village council sends a member to this body VDB for this meeting. This message goes to the chairperson. Now, by the way, chairperson of the VDB is the district commissioner. So the secretary of the VDB is all powerful, no doubt, but he or she comes under the village council, but from the government side, it is the DC who is the chairperson of this board. Now this date I mentioned, so anybody can come for this meeting. Every month this meeting is held. All the villagers can come, especially those who get benefits, loans from this VDB are the ones who come and attend this meeting. One of the important jobs that the Village Development Board, the management committee has to do is to have a village plan. What is the village plan for this year, particular year? They have to articulate it, make it very practical, and it is discussed with the village council, the higher body, and then it is approved, villagers come, question, and discuss about this village plan. Nothing special about the plans. We know most of the time they are roads, construction of roads. And in Nagaland situation, which is a hilly terrain, it's more to do with footsteps, approach roads to school, to any public institutions in a big way, culverts, and Anganwadi centers, buildings and so on, rest houses near the school. Where are the resources coming from? Resources come from, definitely from the government. There is the usual recurring, what is known as grant in aid. But what is important is the second B, government matching grant. Government gives about 75, it began with 75,000. The people have to match it with 75,000. So in other words, first the people have to generate funds. The ceiling is, it began with ceiling was 75,000. If the people are able to get 40,000, government will match it with 40,000. Right now, it has come to 2.5 lakhs. So that is the ceiling. So the people are able to generate so much. Government is able to share so much of grant. So that's a matching fund there. Then you have villagers' deposits and the interest accrued from these deposits. With these funds, definitely a lot of activities are implemented there, plans are implemented, but much more than that, the fixed deposit that is there, the interest that is there from the fixed deposit is given as loans to persons who want to start new initiatives. So that's something special about this. I've come to the end of this presentation. Why is this VDB successful? I mentioned because he was a DC who thought about the tribal self-governing institutions. He co-opted it, literally made use of it. Therefore, I'm using the word synergy there between the village council and VDB. You have village council, which is the administrative body which looks after governance, law and order situation. The other wing, that is VDB, is the development arm of the village. These two are able to work together. And that's why this model is working very well. The financial resources, I said, that's another thing, that matching funds, that's another. So people are able to take initiative. They know if they are able to take initiative, government is able to come up to that level of their collection. Many more points that I mentioned here. There is this constant consultation between the two bodies. I said village council is the superior body, and the village development board has to consult it. And there is constant auditing of accounts by the village council of the VDB accounts. That also keeps the village development board. Last slide is about challenges. I talked about a lot of success stories. What about challenges? Corruption is rampant everywhere, but I think it's in a limited way present in these VDBs. There is corruption. But I think this is when the actors are many, not only village, it's actors are at the BDO level, actors are at the district level. So it is all sort of a chain that is at work. So there is that particular thing of corruption, but I think in a limited way, one. Point number two I'm making is gender representation. 25% of the members have to be women. Naga customary laws do not give chance for women to be members of the political bodies. Absolutely not. And there's a case in the Supreme Court going on now. So how do they wriggle out of this? Some very novel idea is to have a women VDB. There is a VDB for men, there's a VDB for women. So women have their own VDB, so 25% of the funds are for women. So that's how they have wriggled out. Not a great idea. Third, one of the important things is that educated, unemployed youths are, rural development is one of the goals is that they are retained back in the village the VDBs are able to generate employment and so on. I think that hasn't been a great success story there. Let me move to the second important initiative of the government, communitization. I will not, it's nothing special, giving the community responsibility to run the public institutions, whether it is education, whether it is health, whether it is public utility like electricity and so on. So that is the idea behind this. And again, another creative DC by name, R.S. Pandey. He was the chief secretary, of course, of the government of Nagaland. He initiated this particular idea. 2002. Truce had taken place in 1997 between government of Nagaland and the Naga factions. 2002 was the time there was sort of a lull, quiet, calm, and then this officer, chief secretary, comes with this idea of communitization of public institutions and services. I mentioned those services. Let me run through. He talks about 3 T's: trust, training, and transfer. Trusting the village committee proper, that they are able to deliver the services. Training, train them in discharging the responsibilities. The third one is most important: transfer of powers and assets to the village committees by the government proper. This is the speciality of this initiative. Government is partnering with the village committee to give these services. I think this is something very novel. Nowhere in India it has taken place, according to Mr. Pandey, and the success rate is very high. It has won a lot of, this model has won a lot of awards, recognition, UNICEF at the national level too. I will just briefly go about how 3 or 4 committees on education, on health, on electricity. Education, we know the scenario, like anywhere in India. Government schools are government schools. We have absenteeism as a big weakness. We have the buildings which are in shambles. We have other ailments of, especially payments, salary not paid to the teachers not taking interest. That is the situation of in 2000 of education. Village Education Committee is initiated, communitization of education, and we have 4 important things there: formation of committee, transfer of government powers and management functions, transfer of assets, and creation of funds, creation of account to disbursal of funds from the government proper. Who are the members? This body is representative. There is from village council 1 member, from the VDB another member, and then the beneficiaries, parents of the children, government department, there is a member there in that committee. So retired teachers, no expertise is there in that committee. So that's how the VEC is composed. What happens? Positive results. Improved attendance, no doubt. Students' attendance phenomenally increased. Okay, a lot of positives there. Now, what made the difference was this committee was empowered to pay salary to the teachers or not to pay. If a teacher has not come to the school for a long time, his or her salary is cut. As a result, the teacher presence in the school proper increased, and their commitment to students also increased because there was continuous daily monitoring of education in the school. I come to health. Similar story, you have a public health center but no staff, existing buildings in terrible condition, no medicine and so on. Again, a committee is made comprising of the nurse proper who was in the PHC, then the member each from village council, VDB and so on. And then you have those who are experts from the indigenous knowledge point of view, those who are good at tribal medicines. They are also members, and parents, especially mothers, are members of this committee. So what are the things they do? They maintain building, medicine, staff, same, staff salary, again, great control, because they are disbursing money, salaries, and therefore they control. And because of that, you have better presence of the nurses, health workers in the sub-center or public health center. So the benefits, impact is very, very positive. Then you have this electricity board. Two major things happen there. Power cut is the endless complaint. Other one is power theft. These are the 2 two ailments of electricity board in any village. And what happens? Very interesting idea. There is only 1 meter for the village, 1 meter at the transformer. And when the end of the month comes, reading of the meter is done, and the bills are distributed by the village electricity management board. And if a particular family is not paying, it's a defaulter, it will not get the power supply. So what has happened? I'm skipping things. The 3 beautiful things have happened. Definite improvement in quality and continuous supply of power. Dramatic increase of revenues for the government. Power theft is controlled. And successfully tackled power theft. Sure. So this is the benefits of communitization of electricity. What are the challenges faced? I'm just mentioning 4 there. When it was introduced, community was, there was suspicion. Why is this happening? Is government abdicating its responsibility, passing on the buck to us? But with a little bit of information and training, all these things disappeared. Second one, sense of inadequacy. No expertise in us. We are not. Therefore, it was tackled by training, not only training, but also roping in the services of experts from the village proper. 3, teachers' apprehension that we are employees of the government, but now we are becoming employees of the villages proper. So teachers were also perturbed, but I think that too was overcome. And major problem was resistance from the government bodies to share the power. Because they are losing, because they are sharing the power with the villages proper, so that entire Babu mentality has to be shared with the stakeholders. So that was major hurdle in the implementation of this program. What is the status now? Overwhelming acceptance of communitization program in Nagaland. I come to the last section. What has made the difference is the social capital. I talked about 2 government servants, Mr. Gokhale and Mr. Pandey, being attentive to the local situation, being sensitive, made use of the structures, tribal structures that were there, and then initiated these programs. Call to mind the Panchsheel of Nehru. So beautifully he mentions, we have so many of us from different parts of India going to work in the Northeast. And he says, beware, when you go there, be humble, learn the practices, cultures, beautiful things that are there. Learn first, and then start serving the people. And that is what these 2 guys did. Now, social capital, I'm not giving any definition. I have a paper in which I have done all these things. But what is important is, it is talking about commonality of interest. There are certain things which keeps the group together. Common interests are the ones. And that leads to trust, bonding, unity, and so on. Now, you may have social capital, but that may not help. You need to have an agency which is able to tap this. And in Nagaland context, it was village council which played the role of agency in articulating this, in making use of the social capital that was strongly present there. And we know kinship networks itself, all the tribal communities, the kinship network is very strong. That again helps to social capital. One of the things in Nagaland proper, which is dense and rich in social capital, what helped them very much was from historically, because of the inter-tribal war, inter-village war within the tribes itself. As a result, the village had to guard itself. So survival against the attacks. So that kept the village united. The other things are common to other tribal communities. Celebration of festivals, the free labor, community giving free labor. Working together. I remember spending about a month in a village in Nagaland during the sowing season, planting sowing season. The family that I worked, I went 2-3 days, I went there. I couldn't believe that within a day they finished entire transplantation operations in about 3 or 4 fields, which would have taken for them 3 or 4 days. What happened was, there was this give and take. The entire clan members came together, worked there, and once theirs was done, the family that I stayed, they went and worked in other fields. So this is the social capital that I'm talking about. I mentioned this, how a village council, the KLs are the ones, the agency proper for social capital. And the last slide here, these guys, Gokhale, Pandey, thought about this rich and dense social bonding that is existing in Nagaland, made use of them, and we have these two successful programs which are still on, yielding good fruit and continuing, VDB and communitization of programs in Nagaland. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.